Maybe not always, but it's a rare occurrence if you don't tip your waiter, hairdresser, cab driver, and so on, and only if the service was really awful. But even then, a lot of Americans feel guilty about not leaving any tip. The rule is
That's really weird, you know. If the service was really bad, you still have to tip. Makes a very little sense, being honest. Today I will be reacting to 13 etiquette rules in the US that surprise tourists. Okay, this should be interesting, specific because I want to visit America soon. But before I go into that, can I ask you for one thing? If you can leave a like, thank you so much, my friend. This is the best way to show support. If you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Now, link for the original video in my description and let's play it.
So our parents teach us to be polite, but what you learned as a kid doesn't always apply when you're in another part of the world.
That's true.
So if you're heading to the US anytime soon, I've got some tips for you on what we Americans consider the rules of etiquette and some stuff that's totally okay in the US that other countries might consider rude. Let's start off with my favorite, food etiquette.
Food? This is important.
Number 1. Feel free to ask for some condiments. If you're eating out and your food is tasting a little bland, it's completely fine to ask for salt, pepper, or sauces to add a little zing to your meal. I know some places in Europe see it as an insult to the chef if you start adding a little spice of your own. But don't worry about that in the US. Nobody's going to be offended or give you weird looks if you ask the waiter for a bottle of ketchup. Even
I mean, this makes sense.
if you're at someone's house visiting, they won't see it as a jab to their culinary skills either. Some just like it spicier than others. Number 2. Always tip.
This one I'm aware. I have to tip like 20%, right? It's a lot, not gonna lie. But you guys tell me that 20% is the minimum. So yeah, it's a lot, but I think it could be 10% if I don't like the service, but I have to tip always. But the normal will be 20%.
Okay, well,
at least from what you guys told me.
Maybe not always, but it's a rare occurrence if you don't tip your waiter, hairdresser, cab driver, and so on, and only if the service was really awful. But even then, a lot of Americans feel guilty about not leaving any tip. The rule is
that's really weird, you know. If the service was really bad, you still have to tip. Makes a very little sense, being honest.
is 15 to 20% of the bill.
Okay, 15 to 20%, see, I was correct.
So get ready to do some mental math each time you eat out. I've heard that tipping isn't a thing in some countries, especially in East Asia, where
it's not a thing here in Europe. I mean, you can do it, but a lot of people, I mean, I would say most people don't do it in my country.
Restaurant staff always provide good service no matter what. But in the US, it's simply a sign of gratitude that your waiter did a good job, even though they're probably tired, their feet hurt, and they've got a bunch of other tables to tend to.
I also think the service in America is maybe the best in the world.
Number 3. Clean up after yourself at fast food restaurants. Of course, if you're going to the States, I imagine a lot of your eating out will be done in fast food joints. You'll see a lot more of them.
Okay, that's a stereotype. You can eat amazing American food without going to fast food. I thought that was a bit wild, but okay.
Imagine a lot of your eating out will be done in fast food joints. You'll see a lot more of those than your traditional sit and be served by a waiter types of places. But anyways, if you're finished eating and your tray is now full of wrappers, used napkins, and empty boxes, take it to the trash can and dispose of the garbage yourself.
I do this here when I go to McDonald's already, so.
Most fast food places don't have a separate cleaning staff for that. It's pretty much always the cashier that needs to find time between ringing people up to go clean up the dining area. So we try to help them out a bit and clean up after ourselves.
It's fine, I do it already.
Number 4. Open gifts immediately in front of the giver.
Oh, this one I also agree. I know. Yeah, sometimes people don't do it this year. This is actually a good point. But I think it's correct to open the gifts in front of, I think it's nice to see the reaction.
Now, I was pretty surprised when I found out that opening a gift as soon as you get it is considered bad manners in certain parts of the world. I guess some cultures see it as kind of greedy when you start tearing into a present right away. In the US, it's pretty much the opposite. Open it as soon as you get it, right in front of the giver.
I like the American
that
style.
Way, they can see your reaction, and you can thank them right there on the spot.
Yeah.
There are also no rules about using both hands or a certain hand when giving or receiving a gift. Just grab
What? Okay, I did not do. Okay, take with. Okay. Well.
it and open it already. Number 5. Be ready for small talk.
Oh, I'm ready. Well, okay, that sounded bad. But I'm ready in the sense that I know you guys are amazing.
How about that game last night? Whew! When's this weather gonna let up already? Yes, Americans love small talk.
I already have some small talk prepared for when I go to America. Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady? Who is the best, my friend? I have no idea, by the way. But I know those two are very famous. Michael Jordan or LeBron James. So this is for men. This is my talk for sports. I also have, do you like Ford or do you like Chevrolet? A bit more. That's probably a bad one to say. In general. And a non-controversial one. So who do you think is going to win the election this year? I'm joking. I know that one. I shouldn't. Okay, sorry. That was a joke. Okay, sorry.
So don't be surprised if a stranger just starts chatting with you while you're waiting in line or sharing an elevator. It could be sports, the weather, traffic, anything just to have a short, light conversation.
Okay.
I can't really say why we like talking to people we don't even know. But, I mean, if you're sharing a space with someone, are you just going to totally ignore their presence? That'd be awkward.
I like that about America.
Oh yeah, and you'll get asked how you're doing a lot, even by strangers. It's usually waiters and cashiers that'll greet you with a, "Hi, how are you today?" Just answer with "Fine, and you?" Even if you're not exactly having
But you say fine and you, this opens even more the conversation. I mean, this is a loophole that is impossible to stop in America, I feel like.
a fantastic day. Number 6. Expect a lot of smiles. First of all, let me bust the myth that Americans constantly walk around smiling ear to ear. Nobody does that, because that'd be weird. But again, if you're sharing a space and making small talk with a stranger, or maybe someone opens or holds the door for you, they'll smile at you, and it's polite if you do the same.
By the way, you should do this also. This one that Americans smile on the situations, I think this is across the globe. Maybe not all countries, but European countries, most of them.
Cashiers and waiters also greet you with a big, friendly smile. I read somewhere that this goes back to our early history as a country built by people who all spoke different languages. They didn't understand each other all that well, so they just smiled. But I still think we
is this true, my friends? That's why Americans smile so much. That's amazing. I love it.
just like to be open and kind. Number 7. Respect the bubble.
Huh?
Now, here's a pretty funny thing about Americans. We're friendly, we love to chat, but we also really like our personal bubble.
Personal space. Okay, the bubble. I was like, what the hell? Are we still in lockdowns?
Unspoken rule is to stand about an arm's length away when you're talking with someone. We're also not too big on touching during conversation, because this can be misconstrued as a way of flirting. Of course, the rule doesn't apply with close friends and family, but still, even then, most Americans aren't too touchy-feely. Number 8. And definitely no kissing. I know in countries like Spain and France, people often greet each other with a peck or two on the cheek. There might be some Americans who greet the European way, but overall, we don't kiss each other as a way to say hi.
Yeah, we do this all the time, to be honest. Okay.
Again, my personal bubble is my sanctuary, so don't come in it with puckered lips ablazing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It's best to just say hi, smile, and keep it at that. Number 9. Being loud is usually okay. The stereotype of
Usually, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
the loud American tourist might ring true most of the time, since we tend to project our voices, even out in public.
This is one of the stereotypes that I'm curious to see if it's true or not, because so many videos say Americans are loud, but I feel like I would only know this for sure when I go to America and experience that. Because I don't know. But maybe it's true. I mean, you guys can tell me, but this one I would only believe when I visit the United States.
It's not that we're yelling all the time, but I'd say we certainly speak louder than people in Europe or Asia. I've gotten some friendly
Europeans also speak higher than Asians, so,
reminder to take it down a few decibels when visiting my friends abroad. But hey, if you're ever in the States, feel free to laugh out loud or get particularly animated while telling a joke. But of course, there's a time and place for that. You still have to hush down in places like libraries. Shh. Number 10. Indirectness is politeness.
What that means?
So here's the thing about Americans. A direct, no, I don't want, or like that, is seen as pretty rude. But if an American gives you a polite, no thanks, I'd rather not, or I don't think that's the best idea,
This is good education, to be honest.
that doesn't
Nice manners,
mean that they're on the fence about it. No means no, even if it's said indirectly and super politely. It's frowned upon to try and convince someone to do something or change their mind because it's seen as pushy and disrespectful to their wishes. Number 11. Sit in the back seat of a cab.
Okay, we also do it this year, but certain countries don't. That's fascinating, actually.
Now this is something interesting I found out about Australia and New Zealand. There, it's considered rude to take the back seat of a cab because
Yeah, I'm also aware of this one. That's crazy, sitting on the front. But this one, I'm with you, my friend.
it's almost like you're showing that you expect to be chauffeured by someone who's lower than you. Well, don't worry about that in the US. In fact, you should ride in the back seat because the driver might give you a weird look otherwise. It's not an elitist thing, and you can still make friendly small talk from the back. Just respect the driver's personal bubble, that's all.
Oh, goes also into that.
Number 12. Feel free to keep your shoes on inside.
This one I'm not sure if I understand because do you guys have your shoes inside house all the time? Don't you guys put some, if you are someone visiting, okay, but
I had a friend from Russia recently ask me, why is it that in all American movies, people are walking around their house with their shoes on? And I just told him straight up, because that's what we do. Now, there are plenty of families here that don't have a no shoes indoors policy, although I'd say the majority don't. So here's a good rule of etiquette to live by if you ever visit an American's home. When you walk in, ask if you should take your shoes off at the door.
no, but that's weird to take the shoes off in a house that is not yours. But in your house, I think is normal.
If they say, nah, you're okay, don't feel bad about walking around their house in your shoes. I know it seems bizarre to most people around the world, but it's a-okay here. 13. It's okay to keep it casual.
Casual?
Overall, I'd say the biggest thing about Americans is that most of us are pretty casual and laid back. If you're ever out and about in the US, you'll see a lot of people running errands in sweatpants, gym shorts, baseball caps, and even their PJs. But it's not just
I kind of relate to this.
about clothes either. We often keep it on a first-name basis, even with people that are generally referred to more formally in other countries. For example, most of the time your boss is just Jim or Janet, not Mr. or Mrs. Jones. You might start off more formally, but I guarantee you that that person will say right off the bat, "Hey, call me Jim."
Oh, I love
Now,
that.
what would be weird is if their name isn't Jim. Maybe it's Howard or Benny. Then what you say is, "Hey, call me a cab." So, are any of these Americanisms different or the same in your country? And
A lot of things are the same here, but there is some that are different, yeah.
to all my fellow Americans, can you add anything to the list? Let me know down in the comments. If you learned something,
I think one thing, and I was making a joke, that you guys tell me is do not talk politics. No chance. Religion, religion is a more difficult topic to bring, I feel like, but is also not allowed, I feel like, because, it's a sensitive topic at the end of the day. But yeah, this was a great video. I had a lot of fun. I love the smile at the end. Feel free to leave a like if you also had fun, and see you guys next time. Bye, my friends.